Every one of you watching this screen, look out.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
What did I tell you about cartoons?
They've got a lot of brains, and they've got a lot of chutzpah.
Tell me how comic books make you feel, Dave.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hello, this is Franz Cantor, cartoonist, illustrator, and toon talker, and I'm here with
Jim Bridges, and the camera's bouncing around a bit.
Is it? Okay. This we'll make sure it doesn't. So we're doing a book review, and we're going to go inside Family Guy, an illustrated history by Fraser Moore, forward by Seth the Man MacFarlane, who is the creator and the director of Family Guy.
I noticed your head's gone off to the side. So who published the book?
Day Street.
Day Street.
Yep.
Okay. And it's only a year old, this book.
Yeah.
End papers.
So this is the end papers made up of the animated sequence of, if you can recognise this, of the Bird Dance by Peter Griffin in the series. I think it's about the fourth series in or something. He said, there's that silly, gaggy song. Who did the bird? The bird. That song. So it's like that. So there's a lot of pop references. This, of course, is from the opening sequence.
This
Family Guy.
This film is all about pop references.
Do you know the characters?
Vaguely.
Lois, Meg, Peter. What's the son's name?
Daggy.
Okay. There's two sons, of course. There's Stewie, and the dog's name is Brian, and the son's name is, I can't remember now. Dang. But we'll find out.
You're not the dad, so don't worry about it.
He was not in it very often. He's not in it a lot, but he's also voiced by another Seth. Someone.
Your viewing guide. This is all the chapters.
Yeah. Let's get into it. This is great. It's fun. Love this.
This is the photo album.
Yeah.
The family album. Mm. Oh, look, he was a young bloke with sideburns.
Yeah. So the Family Guy is a really interesting story.
He didn't go bald like Homer.
It's kind of based on the Family Unit, like The Simpsons. And the Simpsons are based on the Flintstones, and the Flintstones are based on the Honeymooners.
And the
so it's sort of like a
on...
Family Unit. Well, probably something else.
Which is your favourite character?
Brian.
I like this guy.
Stewie, yeah.
He doesn't talk, does he? He just thinks.
No, he talks. He talks with an English accent. He's the villain of the piece,
yes.
But he's really, really interesting.
So
it's an early promotional piece for the.
What do you know about
show. Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, what do you know about him?
Well, I know that
what's his background?
Well, he loves everything. He loves cartoons.
He obviously loves The Simpsons.
He did his own version of Star Trek, sort of a Star Trek fan film.
Oh, okay.
And he went on to make The Orville, which is another film, a show on which is kind of a homage to Treks. Family Guy is like, I was resistant about Family Guy at first because I thought this kind of looks like The Simpsons too much.
Yeah.
And you can make that mistake of thinking it, but it is
it's a response. It's definitely a response to The Simpsons.
It's a more adult version, more intelligent version than The Simpsons, and and there's some very interesting premises which we'll talk about. It opens with a musical number.
Yeah,
which is really interesting, and then that sort of gets you the wrong impression of the film straight out of the gate, right? Which is kind of like the Simpsons couch gag. So it's the wrong impression of the show. The characters are there, but the show is not a musical. Although sometimes the show is a musical. Oh, this is him falling down the stairs in one episode. I think that was like a special. Show of this is the layout. This is how you do a layout.
Yeah.
So you draw the characters in a storyboard. So its storyboard starts there and then bends down here. So it's a full page. Instead of going, bang, 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 you actually use the storyboard frame element and stretch it down, because the camera's going to follow the action down the scene, down the stairs.
This is what I like doing. Now we need to get this nice and set up, righto.
Yeah, this is Peter's. See, Peter has these balls chin, this sort of, these are different versions. These are different versions of it. It's really...
This is Peter in a kangaroo pouch.
There's this thing about
this is
animation.
Jabba the Hutt, yeah.
Animation you can do anything with, and this show proves it.
Yes.
It proves it. It's so clever. It's such a clever show. I love this. I don't miss any of the episodes, and I love the variations and things. They often do these they call them cutaways. So they interrupt the story with remember that time when I got this job as a butt sniffer, and they go through different things, or they reference history, or they reference pop culture, and they'll put their spin on it, or somebody they don't like.
It's a side gag.
Yes, but whereas the Simpsons would actually write them into the story, this has got nothing to do with the story. This is an interruption. But what happens is it interrupts it in such a novel way.
Yeah.
See, the thing about culture, pop culture works like this. We watch films, we watch shows on TV, right? So we're aware of watching situation comedies, which this is. This is situation comedy. What else are we watching while we're watching the situation comedy? The interruptions, the ads, the ad breaks. Yeah. So this works by understanding that mechanism of our watching habits.
So the ad break
and bang,
gets
bang,
turned
bang,
into...
bang, bang. Yes, and the pop culture...
Which complicates the story and makes it even more interesting.
Yes, but the pop culture is multi-generational. It's like from 40s, 30s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and it's like mixed and matched.
It's got Freddy Krueger, and it's got the Wizard of Oz all in there, which, side by side.
Yeah, but they are talking to an audience that has an insatiable hunger for pop culture. This is the people that are sitting down watching these shows absolutely devour anything about pop culture or political reference or scandals or anything like that. I think any innuendos, anybody that's going to be up for murder or up for this or up for that later on when the story breaks, it gets broken here in the story.
I think these pages are worth the actual book. They're the best things in the book.
Yeah. So when you build an animation, when you build an animated series, right, you build this thing, what they call the animation Bible, which is all the story arcs and all the different elements and variations of the style. This sucker, the Bible of this sucker would be thicker than the New York borough's
telephone book. This is Brian, the American version the American version of Bruce.
Who's Bruce?
Oh, Bruce is an Australian name,
Oh, it's I
love Stewie.
Yeah. So, these are just examples. When you look at this, it's like you remember the gags, the gags that they are referencing. A lot of these are cutaways as well, so they're not part of the. They may not be part of the story arc. You pulled him off the stand.
Stewie lives the Australian Cartoon Museum.
Yeah, but look how
the inside story, folks. This is what the inside Stewie.
Yeah, but look how much fun they had in the invention of these scenes and these gags. And some of the gags are quite disturbing when, like Meg kidnaps Brian and she has an affair with him, and he's a dog. Yeah. So he's a dog, but he has got the hots for Lois, which is Peter's wife. And of course, Peter is this sort of wonderfully...
He takes his clothes off a lot.
Yeah, he does.
And he hasn't got a body for it.
Yeah. Brian is a lot of the times Brian is witness to all of these crazy goings on. But, he has issues. So there's not one person in this show that doesn't have issues, that doesn't have something to exploit in some story or formative way.
Well, that's almost
Chris is actually the son.
It's almost out of the Simpsons.
Yeah, well, there's a an establishing shot of a normal looking home, and hey, what? It's not, and that's it. So the construction, this is all from the Bible. So the animator's Bible, the animation Bible for the show is everything to do with the show. That it just explains the furniture, the color scheme, everything.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to get hold of one of those and do a book on it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the commercial.
You'd have to work for the show, and they'd probably kill you.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to take it away from the office.
Yeah, this is commercial version. So Quagmire.
Yes, it's Joe and Quagmire. Quagmire is a really giggity. He is a really exciting character in the show, and he's transitioned, I think, more than any other character from like a two-dimensional story into this multi-dimensional aspect. Look at him, it's like, he's sort of like the coin that gets stuck in the butt of fat people when they sit on couches.
Yeah.
So, I found your coins. I found your small change.
Go back.
This is Cleveland, one of my favorite characters.
Go back. Check out
Joe. Joe is a quadriplegic policeman.
Yeah.
And this is, his... Everything to do with Joe is to do with, like, a quadriplegic Joe. So when he becomes an octopus, he gets his tentacles cut off. So it's all to do with being a quadriplegic or a paraplegic.
And there's always a version where
paraplegic,
where he's a girl.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of things about the show. It's an adult show, so a lot of the jokes are sort of off color and they're questionable. So they're definitely not PC. Even though they're not PC, they have made certain regulations according to not putting people down because of their sexuality.
Well, that's
Cleveland.
Yeah, but that's Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, turning into a black
panther.
Yeah, that's what that's about.
Cleveland's a very interesting character. He's one of my favorite. He went off into his own show as well.
He's sort of
and then came back.
Sort of wise, isn't he?
Hey. Yeah, this is really interesting.
And everyone else.
Everyone has a beautiful voice. These are some of the background characters. This is the creepy pedophile neighbor, and this, what's her name? Judy Kurosawa or something. The Asian correspondent. She's actually called an Asian correspondent. So it's like a trope on racism and questionable morals.
His head's
and all of that.
His head's upside down.
Yeah. So and this is early days. I think the first season they had this evil monkey in the cage in the wardrobe. They used to give Chris nightmares, the son nightmares. So
evil monkeys.
Yeah, I laugh because all of these come from story arcs that I can remember. There's God,
You've met God.
So it's such a rich show. The characters
and
are
there's
so
the family. There's the family.
Brilliantly conceived and brilliantly, the stories are told incredibly well. That's him.
He's a young bloke.
Yeah. That's Seth MacFarlane. This is Seth growing up. So he's a very theatrical guy. He has a lot of, a very strong sense of humor and a very strong. This is Seth Green, and he's the voice of Chris.
That's his name, Chris.
Mila Kunis is the voice of Meg. Such an incredible cast of characters. It's such an incredibly strong cast of characters. So they get such a lot of story out of this. This would be a joy to work on this show.
Well,
I think there'd be a long list of people.
They can do stuff that the Simpsons can't, and so they just stick in.
This is a great sequence about the chicken. These are probably cutaways, Remember the time when I took out the tuba, and it gives you the ability to break the story. That's Hitler.
Yeah.
You break the story. You're breaking the story on purpose, but you know that it will work.
And this is a get fit rabbi, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely not for the weak of mind or spirit. This show is.
So it's not that big with the religious crowd, huh?
It is. Look, you can't take offence if it's funny, and it's undeniably funny. This is the voice of this is Alex Borstein, the voice of Lois. This Seth does most of the voices, of course. Does Chris and does not Chris? He does Brian, Stewie, and Peter. So it's kind of they write the scripts. There's a round table script read, and they work it out, and they bounce ideas and things, and then they change the script, and then off it goes into production. This is, of course, Mayor West. This is Adam West, who died.
Adam West.
Last
it looks a little bit like him.
He plays Adam West.
Actually, it looks
Mayor
a bit
Adam
like
West.
him. Looks a bit like him.
Yeah. Or Adam Wee. This is great. It's just such a rich show, you know. If you took a laugh meter to this show, it would be off the charts. This you can actually laugh at, whereas The Simpsons you enjoy, right? And maybe like the Futurama you enjoy and you think as well and feel, you know. But this show is everything of that and more. It's like the as I said, the laugh meter is so it's off the scales with this, you know. And they'll visit their own tropes and bring in elements. This is the chicken. So the fight it starts as an interruption in a story, takes over.
Yeah.
So forget the story, get on with the fight. So it goes on for the rest of the show.
Oh, like a running gag, but the gag takes over.
Yeah. And this is it. This is like, it's a running gag that takes over, exactly. So these are the storyboards. This is the chicken character turnaround. No, this is the character, 3/4 view of the chicken as he gets more and more beaten up. So it's a guy, ostensibly it's a guy in a chicken suit that he has umbrage with. And they create this incredible fight sequence, which just takes over. It breaks.
Is that a send-up of the famous fight sequences like in the Western The Spoilers?
Well, it's a send-up of send-ups. So
yeah, well, that's. I think I'm glad you said that.
It's a send-up
I'm
of
glad
send-ups.
I think
so this thing often breaks the fourth wall of the story narrative and comes out of the show. And sometimes it's evident that, you know, when they have the I used to listen to the discussion on the DVD set. What do they call it with the actors? You know, they get the actors and everything. And
the voiceovers,
and they often break down because of
they're laughing. They're
laughing because they're reliving the scenes. You know, it's just so incredibly powerful. Oh, this is the comic series. This is how it's sort of developed into the comics. How it's done. I wonder if it's
the budget, the script.
3. Oh, really?
Animation.
Yeah. Seth, he doesn't look happy.
Is he a musician as well?
I think he is like an octopus. He's
an octopus. Okay.
He has tentacles in every corner. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Well, everything's in 3 acts.
Writing the script. Yeah.
So he's getting Bible bashed.
Yeah, literally. That's Peter's father. So it's all about. It always comes back to the family unit. You know, even though they're dysfunctional, they're all together.
Is that a reference to The Godfather?
I'm not sure what that reference is.
What's that picture?
Don't know. I can't.
And the crew. They're all the crew.
Yeah. They would be like throwing into. This is. You know how you get funny X-rays of people with their things up their butt.
Yeah.
This is like they don't have to say very much because you recognise the shape of the head.
Yeah.
So a lot of things.
It's both ways.
So pushing the limit but not crossing the line.
Yeah.
So that's what the name of this chapter is. So this chapter, that's the whole idea about this. It's an adult show, right? So the humor has to be funny. You've got to push that limit. You've got to surf that line, that edge, but not cross over it, because if you cross over it, you get banned. Right? So you want to just pull it just a little bit back, but offend everybody as much as you can, but not get banned. So that's the key. That's what you need to do. Cool business. This is a really, occasionally you'll come up with a scene that is so human.
Yeah.
It's such a human response. He doesn't want to touch the dead frog, so he gets something and tries to pick it up, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't pick it up
properly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like 5 minutes. That scene. There's a scene in where he bangs his knee, where he goes. Ooh.
They're plugging into people's memory.
They're playing with you.
Yeah.
They're playing with you. The medium of the film,
like you walk
of
past,
a show.
You go into the toilet in the middle of the night and your little toe hits it into the bed and
and you spent 5 minutes doing that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the show's about.
Yeah.
So it'll play up. It plays with you constantly, messes with your brain, so that you don't know what's what, but you so enjoy it, And the gags are so incredibly outlandish. It's not like like a stoner humor or something. It's really clever.
Because stoner humor
That's not clever.
No,
it's just laughing at
it's limited. It's limited.
It's only funny when you're stoned.
Yes.
When you're
or
awake.
People have a memory of it, but this is
Yeah, but this is like.
But obviously, kids watch this. Obviously, kids watch this as well.
Look how beautiful! Oh my God, the detail that they go to, of some of these gags are just brilliant. It's just so funny.
It looks like they have.
This is like you got a dead whale on the beach. Remember that time when I tried to get that whale off a beach? So the thing is, how would you move a whale? We've seen on YouTube, they reference a lot of YouTube humour.
You do
like
not
whales blowing up.
I know,
like
but
that.
you do not take a forklift to the beach.
No, because you'll just rip off part of the whale.
No, but you'll sink. You need concrete.
Okay, but you just destroyed the game.
Oh, look at this! This is the whole.
Yeah, the robots of. Are they?
That's a fantastic drawing.
They're all footballers, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're sort
of
like...
No, they're Joe.
Mega Man!
That's Joe, isn't it?
No, they're not.
The
they're
policeman?
just footballers. Joe's at the top.
No, they're all got the wheelchairs. Look, they're all on wheelchairs.
Okay.
God, what's your eyes like? Oh, this is interesting. Follow this.
It turns into a toilet, yeah.
And every character's been turned...
prop design.
Every character has been turned into a dinosaur at one stage or other, obviously.
Yeah. So with a show like this, the attention to details really pays off because... everything has this multi-layered referencing, and to the point where you can actually watch the show 4 or 5 times, which I've actually done.
Just to look at the detail.
Yes, and look at the detail, but each time you uncover a new detail that you haven't realised before, and it's just so clever.
Detail is really important. Like you get a
detail
a film
in a Kurosawa or a detail in, say,
a Visconti movie.
Yeah.
He has so much detail in it that actually it's soaking up your eyes and your brain at the same time as you're listening to what they're saying and all that. And these films you can watch over and over.
Yeah.
It's not exhausted.
Yeah. Well, they build it's world building. So it's like it's like a great filmmaker. You're building a world with these details. And it's beautifully
this stuff's
done.
pretty...
And even throwaway stories.
But this is pretty expensive. It looks very expensive.
Yeah, everything is expensive.
No, but I mean, compared to a show like The Simpsons or South Park, this is very expensive.
Well, this would be similar to The Simpsons, I think. You'd have a similar sort of budget. One would think. Probably, maybe more, I don't know. But The Simpsons, I think, get a good...
The devil and Peter are in the details.
Yeah. This is character construction. They'd send these sheets out to all of the animators. So how you put these characters together so that they remain consistent and on character when they're drawn. So this have the same thing with the Simpsons book, How to Draw the Simpsons.
Yeah.
So it's how you construct it. So when you probably, as an animator, you'd be hired to draw the animation.
Well, they're always on character, but at the same time...
So you have to learn...
They're always on character, but at the same time they jump out of character, don't they?
But it's also very important, even though they're 2D, you have to think of them as 3D constructions.
Yeah.
Otherwise they won't make sense when you're drawing them.
Yeah.
And most cartoons are done from a
That's
three-quarter
a great
perspective
idea.
anyway.
That's a great idea. Turning your head sideways. It's a great idea. Turning your head sideways.
And of course, Seth MacFarlane he's a great musician and singer.
Singer
Great
as well.
singer, yeah.
Oh my God, the octopus.
Yeah. They did there's a Stewie and Brian Road movie where they do a homage to Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. It's just amazing.
Well, he's interesting. Hang on, no, go back to the Donut Man.
Yeah. This is to do with the gag. It just the simplicity of the character designs. I mean, it's like to me, it's like when I first saw The Simpsons. I thought, well, okay, that's a very particular style. I'm not sure if I like it.
This shows
it works so beautifully.
This show's 20 years old, isn't it?
Yeah. No, is it? Yeah, probably nearly 20 years old.
Yeah.
So it'd be a season 17, I think. Nearly, just off 20 years. But definitely for an adult audience. This is Stewie's pet, Rupert
the bear. So how do they handle transgenderism and homosexuality?
What happens when a dog eats bubblegum? They handle it better now, but originally it's just a cause for humour. Unfortunately, with transgenderism and things, it actually affects people's mental.
Yeah, you've got to be careful.
Yes, they get. You don't want to be responsible for depression and things. It's kind of like I guess.
Is that the
It's the way that you
at home with the Kardashians, if they were black.
The way that you feature things, the cultural references that they put in there are to do with things that we're familiar with, like racism and bullying and body dysmorphism and all this sort of stuff. So there's a lot of elements in there which
I've never seen that show, Sherry and the Anus.
Yeah. Well, these are all cutaways. These are throwaways, ideas. Somebody comes up with a crazy idea, and because you can draw it, hey, it's in the show. It's like it's funny because you've invested the energy.
Well, that's interesting.
That's the idea.
Now,
the ideas are so. This is like the bong dance.
Yeah, that's
the ideas
interesting because you're saying that it's not a whole bunch of blokes sitting out trying to be funny. It comes out of drawing. The humour.
Well, you invest the time to draw it.
Yeah.
So the joke becomes viable.
So if people look at a drawing and don't find it funny, they won't put it in it. But if they find it funny and they don't even understand what it's about, well, let's stick it in anyway.
Okay, well, the elephant in the room is the use of puns. The cartoon puns work beautifully. Yes. Puns in general don't work. But in cartoons, the world of puns work. And exaggeration works. So pantomime doesn't work as an acting form. But in cartoons, animated cartoons, pantomime works beautifully. So this is banking on
This is his experience of God, isn't it? He goes roller skating with God and on Venice Beach.
Yeah.
My God, what a fantasy.
And it's a musical. So they'll
Well,
break,
of course it is.
Yeah, but they'll go into musicals. This the whole the
USA.
So they will investigate
hang on, and she's about to,
all kinds of ideas.
She's about to,
Yeah.
Hang on, get on the screen. Hang on, where is she? There she is. She's about to...
Well, she has branded them.
Yeah, but that's not true. It's just an excuse to get
it would be USA.
Yeah, it's just an excuse to show the bum.
Any excuse to show the bum.
Futurama. Futurama.
Yeah, that's almost like a throttle from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So clever. Some of the storyboards that you can see, of course, they're all done. Most of them done overseas now, I think. Violence. Seth MacFarlane is a genius, And these are some of the show's episodic title cards. So there you can see they're referencing all of these.
Road to India.
Yeah, they're referencing all of these great
Road
things.
to India. What's
so
that
it's
one?
an excuse to
Road to Rupert.
explore a different way. The bear. A different trope.
So that it gets stuck
pop
into.
culture
Do they
trope.
get
And I
stuck
said
in?
the pop culture tropes go way back to the 30s.
What about the
So-
presidents and the politics? Does it get into that?
It does.
So, hang on, turn back.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it does. That's
Ooh,
a
this-
Disney. That's a Disney episode.
Yeah.
So they created this sort of Disney episode, and then they created the
Minecraft.
gag of this is what happened.
Minecraft.
No, this is the cheap version.
Oh, yeah.
So what if we've spent all our budget on that Disney scene?
Yeah, and look, and so they can only afford to draw a
Yeah.
thing like that.
So they can only afford to be drawn like that. They
Yeah.
don't, We don't want to upset the animators, and then they do this sort of like
Yeah,
two-dimensional
clonk, clonk, clonk.
walk off the set. So as I said, they break the fourth wall constantly in this show. So you got to be on your toes, and sometimes you have to watch it 3 or 4 times. And because of that, they layer in all of this content and all of this narrative to sort of give you a beautiful universe that you can explore for a long, long, long time. It's a rich universe that they've created. It's not to everybody's taste. I understand that. If you're at all enamored of the what is it, Futurama? They're beautiful stories as well. But this, to me, this show is made for me. I love it. Because the pop references in here, I'm all over it, and even the ones I don't get, I appreciate.
But you're a fan of breaking the fourth wall. It's the best surprise of all time, isn't it? Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. These are lovely title cards. Yeah. So, they used to work as
Funny.
These title cards used to pop up with the credits.
Yep.
And they, things like the Bob Hope ones, the Abbott Costello ones, and even in England the Carry On ones. They're really inventive and funny.
The Americans wouldn't know much about. Oh, there's the Queen.
Well, they would see it from the Bob Hope
wouldn't know
experience and
anything
the
about
Abbott
the
Costello
Carry On films, would they?
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
Look, they're all got the same nose.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot
this
of
is
drawing
an
here.
incredible book. There's a lot of reading in
Yeah.
here. I haven't read this, but
This is
there's an
getting stuck into
enormous
Disney
amount
again.
of. Yep. There's so much energy and exciting ideas in here. It's just such a, the whole thing, because you can do anything. Oftentimes you don't bother, but this film bothers. It just takes you everywhere, and even some of the shows where I think, well, I'm not going to enjoy this because I don't understand the reference, but it ends up being one of my favourite shows because of how they treat it, how well they investigate it. So he has a beautiful storytelling.
This is sent up at Disney.
Ability. Yes, how
You-
beautiful
you gotta-
these are.
yeah,
Like they're
hang on,
from.
Let's go over here.
They're really Disney.
Yeah.
They're such an incredible job. There's Meg as as
The bad girl.
bad lady
in,
from Little Mermaid.
Mermaid, yeah.
And these are like from the Mouse Detective, and there's Joe as a Jug from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
There's Lois as Belle. There's a character as Belle's father or something from
No, isn't that that's
Snow White.
Snow White, yeah, that's Snow White.
Yeah. So sometimes they've done a lot of beautiful sets and modelling, some 3D things. This is referencing, I don't know what this is, like a whodunit or something.
Yeah, well,
like
that's Agatha Christie.
Agatha
Everybody
Christie
turns up
style.
and suddenly there's a dead body.
the gruesome details, like it's the head severed, but it's just hanging on by a flap of skin. This one. It's just such an incredible amount.
The murderer got a clean getaway. Yeah. It's interesting. It's out of focus.
Well, they would probably rack focus.
Yeah.
So it's an artificial trick that they're getting there.
Well,
But
it's him discovering it. Yeah.
Yeah. This was a great episode, this one.
Well,
It's nice. As Muppets.
have they got stuck into 2001? That's what I want to know.
They would have got into,
2001?
yeah, they would have referenced it somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, this is 3D. I don't remember this. I don't think. I can't remember this scene.
Well, The Simpsons did it. Remember?
Yeah.
What
Really grinds my gears. Making mischief. What really grinds my gears. So that was a lot about the FCC and being banned and things like that. So, you know, they actually reference the fact that
They were banned.
yeah, and once they replaced Brian for a brief period with a new dog.
Because?
Well, because they thought there would be a funny arc if he was killed, and then they bring him back.
Yeah.
Partial terms of endearment.
Partial term.
Banned. You know.
That's funny.
That's Morty with a menorah jetpack.
That's funny. Another Jewish superhero.
Yeah, there was a song there. There was a song because they're sort of
abortion.
Methodists or
I'm
something.
thinking abortion. Oh, really? Yeah. An
Yeah.
airing aborted. Huh.
So there's lots of.
Well, I mean, if you get banned, I mean, I remember they were making a documentary about sex in Australia in the 60s, and they showed it to the censors, and the censors cut all these bits out. So they decided to invent
Make a
a
film.
character called the Naked Bunyip.
Yeah.
And the Naked Bunyip, actually, they didn't cut the film, they just put this cartoon character in front of the dirty bit. So, and by doing that, by drawing attention to what they've done to you, you send up the whole process of censorship, and you can have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? They're obviously into that. Well, that's great. I love those things.
Well, they're all things that happen. So you know your response is either you pretend it didn't happen or you just reference it. But
you reference
everything is up for a gag.
Well,
so if you can make fun of them and yourself, why not?
Yes.
You know, that's the whole idea of this show. It's a humor show. It's
Because
funny.
you see,
if you're upset,
what's censorship about? Censorship.
if you're upset by issues that are funny,
Yeah, but what's censorship about?
Yeah.
Stopping people seeing stuff, right? So this way you can have your cake and eat it too.
yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. Oh, these are nice images.
Yeah. There's a very complex relationship between the dog and and
very
Stewie,
complex.
between Brian and Stewie. This is like what if they were put into the machine that transports the fly. Stewie is Enciente Concepts, final drawings, Mick Cassidy.
I'm glad he got to grow up with get some hair.
This is a very funny scene. So vomit is a interesting cycle 3, cycle 2, cycle 1. So because it's a cyclic effect, right? Vomit. They have to sort of do this.
Yeah, they come in
cycle.
threes.
Do they? This was you can YouTube this. The scene's on there. It's very, very funny. You know, the idea, the gag is that when you smell vomit or see vomit,
It makes you
it
vomit
makes you
again.
vomit.
Yeah,
So it's a human response.
it is. But you know, I've heard of the gag.
Beautiful.
I've heard of the gag
Artwork
response,
is
but I've never heard of the vomit
incredible.
response.
There's Megas.
And they're turning vomit into gags. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Megas cockroach. So that there's such a lot of invention in this. It's amazing. It's just incredible.
Oh look, they pulled her eyes out. So this Adam and Eve stuff.
I don't remember this. I'll have to reference this up.
Maybe it's been. Oh, this is a toilet scene, obviously. So all the stuff is. But hang on, this is banned. All the
Boards
stuff,
and
isn't it?
sequence, so you can see.
Is all the stuff banned?
I think so. This might have been, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a
This
hole
could
in
be
the
the
head.
scenes that were too heavy.
Which is another reason why she get this book, right?
Peter's butt turns into a fly.
A
You should get this
bumblebee.
book just to see what didn't make it.
Yeah.
This was the fight between the mother and son.
So if they
Chapter six.
if they cut out stuff,
This is the portal. This is that
Yeah.
time travels.
yeah.
So they go.
But if they cut
different
out stuff,
dimensions.
how did- I mean,
so
it
there's
has
no
to-
rules in this show at all.
Obviously.
They have no rules, and that's what's fun about it. Because to anyone else, this would be a daunting task. Not even Disney could pull this off. But Seth MacFarlane, genius as he is, and the fearless adventurer
Hang on.
in animation,
Got that picture.
has done this. He has done this.
They're pretty close to that TV, aren't they?
Yeah. So, it's an amazing testament to one man's courage in the
design
face
evolution.
of impossible odds to create a show that can do anything. And yet he's done it. And, I'm flabbergasted. Every time I watch this show, I am annoyed and flabbergasted at the same time in equal measure. Flabbergasted by their sheer bravery and genius, and annoyed that I'm not working for him. It's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. Everything he touches, he seems to understand perfectly, and exist within that world. Like science fiction shows, he's
Comic
done
covers.
beautifully.
Comic covers.
Seth.
Family Guy. Comic
Seth
covers.
drawn by
The Kirby effect.
Kirby, yeah.
Kirby effect, yeah. There's a bit of Kirby crackle.
what this must be the artist working on. These are like milestone episodes or advertising material that they put for the show to advertise special episodes, anniversary episodes. What's the secret to Family Guy? You should read that. Influences include Bugs Bunny, Rocky and Bullwinkle, and In the Family, yes, The Simpsons. All in the Family and The Simpsons. And that's, of course, Meg's name. Like, Meg, there was a whole thing on Meg. So every time they said Meg's name in the episode, someone would go... Because she's like...
Well, they call it a running
butt
gag.
of all
They call it
jokes.
a running gag.
Yeah, there's lots of running gags here. That's what I mean. The whole show is full of that because it's so well contained within the world of animation.
Well, this is
Those
interesting.
corny gags work so
This is
beautifully.
a technical thing about colour.
Yeah.
Okay, not okay.
Yeah.
Let's make a joke of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's skin
Yeah,
color.
that's right. That's right. But they're making a gag out of that.
They're matching him. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to find out, are you okay or not okay?
Yeah.
That's really clever. There's a newsreader. It's very short, grumpy, and So every color. That's the Superman's Fortress of Solitude, with the Spanish maid. They're trying to get it. Have you seen this boy? No, it's okay. No, I haven't. It's just really doesn't understand. That she understands English perfectly, but she doesn't want to admit it
Not
because then
capiche.
she'd
Not
be
capiche.
caught in a conversation
not
at the
capiche.
door.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years.
There's a lot of
Fantastic.
acknowledgements here.
Yeah, look at all that.
And there he is
There
in
he
the
is,
sunset.
Yeah, with his butt kicked, and there he is doing the chicken dance again. The bird dance.
That's it.
Hey, folks. Yeah, that's kind of like the ending of a sitcom, where all the characters come on the stage and wave goodbye. Thanks for joining the show. We'll see you next time.
Well, this is still in the bookshops.
Yes, so you can get this. This is a brilliant book. Personally, I would love to have seen more behind-the-scenes stuff and just some of the, I think some of the maybe some of the celebrity guests that they've had on.
There
in
weren't
the
many
past.
there. There weren't many there at all.
Yeah, I would like to see some more of them. That would
Yeah,
be good.
yeah.
And some of the cutaways and the inventiveness, and maybe even talking about the process of how do you interrupt this show, this story. How do you interrupt a narrative with a cutaway? Are you actually doing that in the
Well,
script
it's called breaking.
process?
It's called breaking the fifth wall.
Yeah.
It's a pun within a pun.
Yeah, but it's like, when you're talking about something and then you interrupted with something else, right? Then you have to get back to the topic.
Story, yeah.
And you say, what were we talking about before we were talking about pizza?
Yeah.
So it's like that. I love it. Love it. Love this book. This is fantastic. All right, this is Franz Cantor and
Jim Bridges.
saying we'll catch you next time.
See you around like a record.
Thanks for the sour persimmons, cousin.